Having a commander tag is fantastic for you and for everyone else around you. It lets you create and organize groups for content properly and efficiently. Yes, you can technically make one without. You can make a group without a tag, but people will join much slower, if at all, and you can't really organize roles and it can just become a mess. Not only does having a tag mean you can quickly organize a group to do any content that you want to do, it also means one more tag in the LFG for other players to join. When more people tag up, everyone wins, and it's actually much easier and much less daunting than you might think. Organizing a group of players in Guild Wars 2 works a little bit differently to other MMOs, and I feel like there's just a sparse amount of somewhat inconsistent information out there about it. So hopefully this can serve as an ultimate guide to make it as easy as possible for you to get out there and start getting some use out of that commander tag. To make sure I'm not leaving anyone behind, let's start with the absolute fundamentals. A squad is a 10-man group of players, which is further divided into 2 subgroups. Each subgroup, or sub, will require 3 things: a source of quickness, a source of alacrity, and a source of healing. Quickness basically just makes skills cast faster, and alacrity makes skill cooldowns faster, so they're ready to be used again sooner. Both quickness and alacrity basically do the same thing. They increase the subgroup's DPS. In fact, they increase DPS so much that it is more than worth it to sacrifice some players' personal DPS so that they can apply these boons to their subgroup, which increases the total DPS significantly more. Now, how do we make sure each sub has these 3 things? Well, first of all, the healer will not only be healing, but they'll also be taking care of one of the 2 other requirements. So they'll either heal and supply quickness, or heal and supply alacrity. These roles are often called quick heals and alac heals respectively, or even shorter, Q heals and A heals. So let's say you find a quick heals player, so that's someone who provides both quickness and healing. Well, that's 2 of the 3 requirements covered already for the subgroup. Now all you need is that alacrity. Since we already have a healer, the alacrity will be provided by a DPS player. They basically sacrifice a little bit of their personal DPS in order to provide alacrity for everyone. You'll often see these boon DPS roles called Quick DPS and Alac DPS, or Q DPS and A DPS. So let's say that the first role you find when organizing a squad is an Alac DPS. So now you know that for that subgroup, you just need quickness and heals. So you need a quick heals role, then you'll have all 3 requirements. So basically, we need either a quick heals paired with an Alac DPS, or an Alac heals and a quick DPS together. The final 3 slots of the subgroup just need to be normal DPS, then we do the same for the second subgroup. As long as both subgroups have one source of quick, alac, and heals, regardless of who supplies them, you're good to go. The reason we need the 2 subgroups in the first place is simply because almost all boons in this game apply to a maximum of 5 players, and they prioritize the players in your subgroup. So this just makes sure everyone gets every boon, assuming everyone's in range and pressing the right buttons. So now that we know the basics of squad composition, let's see how to actually do it in practice. This is how I would recommend you organize a squad for your first time. When you're the commander of a squad, you can move any player around to any subgroup. Everyone else can only move themselves. Usually they don't, but if you want, you can lock all subgroups to prevent this. I will start by moving all of the boons and heals to their own subgroups to keep track of them. So I'll use subgroup 2 and 3 as my final subgroups, just so I can keep sub 1 for the players that are yet to be sorted, because it's where all the new players land when they first join your squad. Once we have our heals and boons in both subs, I'll announce that everyone remaining in sub 1 should be DPS, just to cut down on any confusion, and give them a little bit of time to look and see which sub they're in, before then putting 3 DPS into each of the subgroups. And there you go, you now have 2 beautiful subgroups with everything you need to take on just about any strike mission. Most raids will also use a similar basic setup to this, but usually with some special roles as well, depending on the encounter. And just before we jump in, everyone should wait for the ready check. So just quick ready check like that to make sure everyone is here. And as soon as everyone is ready, everyone just starts going in. Squad ready, boom, let's rumble. When you're organizing your first few squads, you may find it a bit daunting, but I promise you it gets easier every time, and eventually it'll be so second nature that you prefer making your own squads, because you'll be doing it faster than any other squad that you join, and you'll know that all the important boons are covered. Not to mention, gaining the ability to compose a squad is essentially gaining the ability to run any strike that you want at any time, instead of having to rely on finding a group in the LFG when there might not be any. So here's a couple bonus tips as well. If you do happen to get someone a little bit less patient that says something rude, just remember that you are the commander. They joined your squad because they didn't want to organize one themselves. You're basically doing what everyone else couldn't be bothered to do, and you can organize your own squad however you want. But honestly, most players in this game are very chill and understanding, and most players are just happy to have a commander at all. Seriously, you don't have to be the best commander in the world. And finally, don't be afraid to tell people what's up. A lot of players can flex between multiple roles, and they'll tell you which roles that they can do, or they'll just say they can do any role. And sometimes a newer commander will try to be nice and ask which roles they prefer, or just not give very direct communication since they're not super confident. In my experience, this often just makes things a bit harder and take a bit longer. It's just much easier to make a decision, tell them which role that you want them to do, and so you can start organizing the other boons. They wouldn't tell you what role that they can do if they don't want to do it, and everyone is happier if the roles get assigned clearly and effectively from the start. And that's it. If you want to dive even deeper into some more advanced squad composition, I definitely recommend checking out Hardstuck's Team Builder tool on their website. It's a super helpful tool, as is everything on that website, so check it out if you haven't already. And check out my Twitch as well. I run a lot of meta trains and giveaways on my Twitch, so check that out as well if you so desire.